Hey, Will Carroll here doing a little bit of a video UTK. I want to talk a little bit more about the guys I talked about with today. First, let's start with Jacoby Ellsbury. You know, this fractured ribs thing has gone on forever, and his press conference, or whatever you want to call it, more than a little bit weird. Certainly did not say anything good about the Red Sox medical staff. He's been on the same page with them. He's been off. He's been on. He's been off. This one's getting a little weird, and because of that, there's a lot of question about how he's going to play well with the team once he does get back, if he does get back. There's still not a timeline on that. Looks like he's now headed down to Fort Myers, where they'll keep a closer eye on him. This one's very strange. You know, some people have suggested that this is something to set him up for arbitration, that this is just really what he needs to do, that he's not getting the right level of care, or that he just doesn't trust the care that he's getting, and that's always a problem. It'll be interesting to see exactly how this goes. Kevin Youkilis came out and said he didn't know exactly what was going on, but it wasn't playing that well in the room. So I really think Terry Francona and the rest of that clubhouse leadership there in Boston is going to really be tested. Jake Peavy, of course, headed for surgery. Dr. Romeo there in Chicago is going to do it. They're going to reattach that muscle that's retracted. They need to do that early. It's a very short tendon, so they need to make sure that that gets done pretty quick. It has retracted. Basically, it's moved back from its position under the arm. They'll have to go back in. It's a very simple surgery. Talked with Dr. Neil Elitrash, who did it with another pitcher, a guy in the Dodgers organization named Brett Leach. He came up to the major leagues afterwards. Hasn't had any problems. Actually gained a little bit of velocity, not because of the surgery, but probably because of the rehab and the rest, similar to what we see with Tommy John surgery. So, well, this certainly isn't good for the White Sox, and Peavy in 2010. 2011 looks good. Now the question is Peavy in that decline phase? Do the things that they're trying to do to keep him healthy have any effect? And right now, sure doesn't look like that. Zach Greinke, he's injured. That strained shoulder, not exactly how serious that is, but the Royals have got on full lockdown, so we're just going to have to watch and see how they set their rotation, whether he's going to need more rest right now. Just cautious. I'm not too terribly worried. Nobody seems too panicked about this. Jose Reyes, the strained oblique, is something to watch. A lot of people saying, why don't they just put him on the DL? That was one of the comments today at UTK. Because they don't need to. There's not a lot of gain. They're saying, he would only miss a certain number of games with the All-Star game going on, but I don't really see that. I think this is something where he's comfortable enough to play, they're comfortable enough to let him play, and I like to see them being a little bit, aggressive isn't the word, but creative. Really, the Mets have lived in the shadow of all those injuries last year, and we've gone over the fact that that was just really bad luck, the way that happened, the way it stacked out. It'll be interesting to see how they deal not only with Reyes after the break, but with the return of Carlos Beltran. I'm well on record as saying that I just don't think he's going to be able to stay healthy, and he's really not going to be able to stay healthy if they have him playing in center field. I don't know how this is going to work out. I think how Jerry Manuel and Ray Ramirez set a rotation, figure out how to try to keep him at any level productive, Beltran that is going to be a big tell towards how far they go. Adrian Beltre, this story has gotten a little bit weirder since we published at BP this morning. Beltre says he's still in the All-Star game. He hadn't been informed. We'll have to see how this goes, but it doesn't look like a hamstring is that serious if he's saying he can go out and play on Tuesday. So that's at least a positive sign going forward. But again, the Red Sox, Major League Baseball, and Beltre not on the same page. Edinson Volquez, really not a whole lot more to say about him. He's going to be back. Watch the command. That's the only thing left for any pitcher coming back from Tommy John surgery. It's usually the last thing, and that's the thing where Volquez has been a little bit shaky. He's going to come back, but I'm a little concerned how that's going to work out. Also, always concerned about how Dusty Baker is going to handle pitchers that are starting to get tired. Mike Leake, they've had to rest. Volquez, they'll have to watch out for. They just don't have a whole lot of depth. They've already used all the pitching depth they have. Be interesting to see once Harang comes back how they try to work him back in as well. Joe Mauer, the bruised shoulder, not a big deal. Catchers take that kind of beating. Jeff Neiman, the strained back, not a big deal. And finally, Scott Rowland, the strained back, not a big deal. So those are the updates, and thanks for joining me. We'll be doing more of these and doing a lot more of these once football season starts.